ini dia tim Secret terkeluar di tempat yang sama dengan api kalau kita ketahui.
Gets taken now.
Hello, di manakah QB berada? Bombs bakal aja.
Bahkan ada sebuah ledakan, ada sebuah bagi yang juga loncat tadi kita melihat. Dan itu dia Genesis Dogma memulangkan semua pemain dari V Gaming. โลแกนโชว์ความเก่าครับแล้วนี่เรียบร้อยครับเป็นทางด้านโลแกนครับที่ค่อนข้างที่จะเก่ากว่านะช็อตนี้แล้วมียาขาดที่ต้องนะครับต้องปั๊มวงเหนียนไปที BDR กิ๊กแฟนโดนหนีสุดแล้วดึงลงไปเก็บโอกี้ไปแล้วเหลือแค่ตัวโดนไฟ2เลยมีลาตัวเจยังน้องรักมีเรื่องตัวเปมาก็เช็คชื่อครับโอ้โหเอาได้แล้วบอลไฟหนอนเป็นเทียบแล้วตอนนี้โดนล้อมอย่างไกลๆขอแค่เม็ดเดียวพอแค่เม็ดเดียวล่วงไปโอ้ยจังหวะนี้3ปอมเป็นเกมได้ไม่ทำได้แต่เพื่อนเขาไม่เทปได้เหมือนกันแล้วไม่เอานอนแบบนี้เรียบร้อยเลยเป็น4-2ครับแต้ม
Mari kedudukan yang cantik. Kita lihatkan tim Secret di bagian high ground tersebut, tapi Nerpeko dengan satu pemanduan yang begitu.
Oh ya, mungkin dia memang mungkin Secret pula. Bom Malaysia menyerupai daripada tim EVOS.
All been leading up to this, and it's continued along here in day one of the PMGC 2021 East League as these teams are fighting, these 20 teams are fighting at least today and tomorrow to get top 16, to make it into the Super Weekend, and to make those points stick around until we get into our league finals. Maxman and Claris will be joining me here still on the desk. And gentlemen, while we've had our top few Chinese teams finish off our first match of the day, as we head into our second match, Claris, you pointed out something to me that you've noticed when it comes to Miramar between two teams, the Xavier and Deadeye guys. You want to talk about their drop location and potentially an early fight, but it's not where you would expect it.
Maybe. So it's very interesting because normally when you're thinking about like hot drop situations, it's again not hot drop, just a conflicting drop spot situation. You're thinking might be a city. You're thinking of Picardo and El Pozo, or San Martin, and things like that. But these two teams have been dropping across north of San Martin, between kind of the west side of San Martin and between that and water treatment. And they may not be dropping in exactly the same buildings, but eventually as they continue to regroup and kind of get together, there's these small conflicts that are going on. So if they continue to drop in this area just north of San Martin, you're ending in this situation where you're gaining ferric damage, and nobody really wants that to be able to then go on and continue staging their campaign. So I just thought it was really interesting to see a trash drop be conflicted, Max. It's not common that happens, Max, but it's definitely something here that can potentially be a concern.
Makes me think of that meme when you have a pack of dogs fighting over a pile of trash. Like, it's worth it, and we're just gonna fight over it right there. But yeah. To be honest, I don't think, especially when you have that much space remaining, I don't expect any team to go out that early. But the main issue with those kind of skirmishes happening that early is you lose a player, you lose potentially even two players, and your chances of a chicken dinner drop drastically when you lose players that early, especially on the Miramar game. So just got to be careful. You can both drop there if you want, but you just got to be respectful of where the other team drops to make sure you don't have that big skirmish happen as you try and regroup together.
I think what I find interesting, because I'm kind of looking at like the macro, like the bigger picture here, is that you have A, B, C, D playing the first two matches of the day, and then Group E comes into the third match, right? The question for me is, if you're Group E, you have the chance to watch these first two matches and see where teams are dropping. Do you think teams might potentially change their drop location when they see, okay, well, Bigatron's dropping here, so, and that's where we like to drop, but we don't want to contest them early on. I feel like they have some sort of advantage for that fact, but also they might psych themselves out, underplaying how well they could combat some of these teams.
I think myself and Kalaris touched upon this quite a bit actually before the show, that yes, if you are Group E, you have so much extra knowledge from watching these two first games. You only have an Miramar and Erangel right now, so you have one game of each already in the backlog. You can watch back on how things went down, and you can potentially change the drop location if there's a need to do so. Even though that's a very big change, I don't expect teams to maybe go that far, but you might tweak a few things here and there to make sure that you have an even better chance in that early game to get yourself in a good position. So yeah, Group E, entering in game number 3, and then the rest of the games throughout this first league stage, it could be a little bit of an advantage for them for sure.
I think that kind of frustrates me though a little bit, Kalaris. Like, thinking about battle royals in general, teams are very hesitant to hot drop each other, very hesitant to like change the locations because they feel like, now this is our spot, this is where we know to play from. But I feel like if you're a team coming into this, you have to have, okay, this is our first plan, this is our first drop location.
Yeah.
You have to have like two more potential backups because you can't afford to really have any bad days here.
Yeah, that was the concern I think we had for some of the other PMPLs, which was some teams didn't really have a good backup drop. And there are some decent places to go. We were talking about the trash drops before, and those can quite easily accommodate a lot of teams given the loot rules, given the loot settings and things like that. So, I mean, even what we were talking about with rejects, if FaZe is in the lobby, if FaZe is in Picardo, the trash drop south of Picardo is a perfectly viable drop. But even if somebody's dropping there, you can take, east side of this map and still have rotation paths available to you. So yeah, you need to be accommodating for a lot of factors, and backup drops are very important if you get in a tight bind.
Well, we are about 30 seconds away before we hop into the match, but I know you guys don't necessarily want to do predictions, but I'm going to give you an easy prediction here, a yes or no prediction. Will we see 2 out of the 3 teams, or 2 out of the 3 top teams in this match be Chinese? Yes or no, Max?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
Kalaris? Wow, okay. All right. Okay, what about 1 out of 3? Let's change it up here, Max.
1
out of 3?
Yes.
Okay. Kalaris?
I mean, yes, I guess.
This is top tier analysis,
Okay.
man. You can't get any
Wow.
better
That's all
than
we
this.
need. That's all we need. I don't put you guys on the spot, but I will put John on a blank on the spot because we're heading into the second match of the day.
Oh, thank you very much, Jason. Yes, of course, we're very excited to be on the second match. Miramar coming on up a little bit hotter, and their drops heating up as well, as they were talking about over on the display.
Yeah, they were. I mean, there's going to be a lot of places for contention around this map, to be quite honest with you. I think there are some real key positions on this one. Los Leones, Impala, El Pozzo. You're looking at these spots as like massive positions to take up, and there is going to be some fighting for these, because in other leagues, you will generally have teams who will just give way for the top teams in their lobby to just be like, you can have Picardo, you can have El Azahar, we don't care, take it, we'll go elsewhere. Here at the global stage, people don't care. They want these spots. They know they're as good as you, if not better. They're going to take these spots off you, so you got to be really, really careful when it comes to picking a drop spot here on Miramar, because you do not want to be in a position where you're losing 2 members right at the beginning of the game just because you were greedy for a spot.
Cut right down the middle. The plane path sends north to south, almost directly there. No one dropping out early, so no one going La Cobreria, no one going Torre Almada, Tierra Bronca. All of these areas going to be deserted for now. And look at this. 2 teams very close to one another. It's Dead Eyes and 628.
628 Dead Eye guys, see what they can do in this situation. Sunan drops the silent sniper on board, looking to be stealthy with it.
Pops it in the backpack. Shifu for Dead Eye guys trying to move around the generators. So I think the generators haven't done a full extensive background check on exactly what they are, but they look like that. Transformers, maybe, not entirely sure. But they have managed to find a knock, and they're going to look to transform that into an advantage that they'll press towards 628. You can see 628 moving back towards the outside of this compound. A dangerous dash comes through there. Waturu Lover actually goes for another as well around the side. No one playing out wide. They have the backup of the sight line from a player behind, but this could be dangerous. This could be where it all hits the fan, but no, back around the container. So 3Z doesn't strike just yet. Nades being cooked. No one going down.
Yeah, this is really well played from 628. They've got so many angles available. That's a beautiful nade, though, and that's what comes with finding that ordnance early in the game.
A nice retribution knock there for Yu Yang, and moves around the side out wide as well. Needs to be careful to hold down this sightline. Zunan gets sprayed down, and that is 628 taken out almost immediately. Blank from riches to rags there for 628.
Yeah, Deadeye guys play that one pretty nicely, but I think that's what comes down to it. If you can find nades early in the game, I'm not sure 628 were expecting that. They get naded around the corner. One of their big angles gets taken out, which is on the side of the warehouse. And after that, that aggressive push over the top of those crates, no longer becomes as effective because you don't have that backup. And then a really nice flank around the side from Deadeye's guys, and 628 is put to bed nice and quickly.
The Galaxy. Vying for positioning on pot. So next to Down One Gaming. Right now. Not in the next circle. We'll have to shoof a little bit southeast. Let's go with that. It's a word now.
Yeah.
And we will all pretend like it's a word so that I don't get embarrassed.
That's fine. We will do it. I will ask Oxford Dictionary to add that one to the list.
I'll tweet
NFTs recently. We'll have shoof next. That's just how it works. We like to put made-up things in the dictionary, apparently, these days. D. Xavier, down towards the eastern side of the map. They're holding this eastern side on both Erangel now as well as Miramar, so it seems to be a comfortable position. I like this. I mean, last game as well, they had a pretty good solid game plan, which was like clear out that eastern side. So goes east and then play from that side, knowing that there's no one really playing from your back because you've already cleared that area. So I think that Xavier, they have a good game plan ahead of them. It's just executing it, which is becoming the difficulty for them. And I do think there was a little bit of panicking towards mid-game on our angle there, and hopefully, that is just first game jitters coming through from the guys on D. Xavier. This is now the global stage. I'll say it again. It does add that stress to the mix. Luckily, or unluckily, these guys aren't on land, so you don't have all that pressure of the crowd behind you. You don't have all that pressure of like being in person. So you can just chill a little bit with your team, but I imagine still tensions will be running hot within any room that these guys are playing in.
Yeah, but I like LAN, so let's bring it back. I'm ready. Not quite yet, actually. Oh man, I can't wait for it. But for now, you're right. The players get that sort of field of calm that they can create for themselves.
Yeah. I mean, Darth Dante is a great example of this, just playing in his room with a blanket on his head. That guy is the real G, and, I need him back at some point. That's all I'm saying.
We'll have to try and make that happen, Or maybe he'll have to try harder to make it happen, get to those PMGC finals, because...
I need blanket interview.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. Under the blanket. It's your segment, right? Under the blanket.
My segment,
you invite people into your pillow fort.
Yeah, dude. It'd be cool. I'd be lit by candlelight as well.
Oh, that's dangerous.
It is dangerous. Well, I like to live life on the edge of the
That's a health and
blanket,
safety violation. I'm going to have to cancel your segment, I'm afraid.
Oh, damn it. Okay, well. It was short-lived, but so far, this game, the only people short-lived in it is 628 going down so early on. Down to 15 teams now alive. Doopy 60. Cryptics all the way down towards the southwest, down to Via de Mar. A lot of these teams not really risking their lives too much. I like that Picardo didn't really get hit on too hard. A lot of these teams were like, Picardo's going to be a real hot spot, and we don't want to get our feet scalded, so let's not drop in there yet. And it turns out no one wanted to do it. But you do have 4 rivals as well. Tong Jabao just circling around this area. Tong Jabao currently employing a 2-2 split at the moment, down towards the north side of Los Leones. You got 4 rivals on your screen. They're just the north side of Tong Jabal's 2-2. So we will see what they can get done. But this is a really good position just to the south of Picardo. Has a lot of sight lines that they can use to their favor. They can also dip behind the ridgeline should they need to. And they have that big cliff just underneath San Martin to their backs to give them cover.
BC Swan mounting the hills just to the northeast of Los Leones. Everybody else just biding their time. I feel like on Miramar, and we've spoken about this quite a lot in the past, Blank, on Miramar, keeping 4 alive gives you so much power towards these later circles because you can control the ground and it is a very terrain-heavy map. And so you have more of those outposts, you have more of those sightlines covered, the more strength you're going to have. We saw what Tong Jiabao were able to do with sightlines in that last game. If they're able to keep all 4 in the mix, Well, they might just be able to do it again. They're fairly central.
Yeah, I think that you're completely right. I think having 4 members alive on Miramar is extremely important just because of how big this map is. Even in those final circles, there is still a large amount of landmass that you need to cover. Not in terms of like even distance on foot, but also in terms of like what angles can you hope to hold. And a lot of times if you have 4 members, you can take more aggressive positions within the circle. And if you're down to like 2, you're going to have to play a much more closed off area. Which tends to come back to bite you a lot of times, really depending where we end up, especially if we end up towards the field side. If you have 4 players, a lot of times, you know, you can kind of make like that firing line and just sweep down like a rake over that area and try and take out the teams that way. So it is very, very important to keep these players alive. And just anything from last game, we know these teams are good at avoiding one another in that early game, being able to find position in the map, you know, pressure each other a little bit, force rotations that teams might not quite like, but a lot of times people don't go down. So really this is all about just positioning those pieces on the board to your favor at the moment.
Rico Infinity team trying to position themselves out on the western edge. No one really to guard behind them. They should be just fine. Cryptics taking a little bit of tick damage from the blue. They're moving around near the south coast right now. I'm going to be swinging in behind teams on that south side of Los Leones. Not too many teams in the Chumacero Hills though, so they should be fairly open. Bigatron, who went down early last game, they are going to have to play from a similar position as well. Look at this, the mass migration towards those Los Leones Hills. Everybody's starting to crunch in.
Yeah, MS John Burry as well, heading up like a nice little position towards the south side. But BC Swell, it's just him inside the shack versus Nova. It does find one. Paraboy goes low, but Zusti coming over the top of the hillside now. Paraboy has to be careful, drops the smoke. Might just be able to get away here, John.
Uh-oh, not going to happen. Paraboy gets taken down on the knock. Not going to get flushed just yet. Order in to potentially save the day. King riding on up in the buggy. Paraboy very, very low. Jimmy bleeding out as well. Paraboy probably prio at this stage, but Zussi gets backed off by the players from... there's Xavier chiming on in as Paraboy does get flushed by Lamborghini. So that's a point given over. Jimmy will be rezzed here. Just this down, crawling away from this fight. As Xavier plays spoiler to the push. BCS going to have to be more careful.
And this is what I'm talking about as well from Xavier. They've already cleared out the entirety of the eastern side. Now they can take this fight with impunity. They know there's absolutely no one in this area. Duck's going behind. This is a beautiful flank. Needs to just buy time with it though. Can't get too aggressive. Skylar flies off the other side. It feels like BC Swell, they might just have given up on this fight. They know there's a new member joining the party. Jimmy takes some tickle damage.
They don't want to be involved here. King in the shack still, swings out wide as Jimmy gets knocked on the off angle. To another player coming on through. A nade goes long as well, and there's the spray. Xavier just absolutely giving it right now. Close enough to give them too much worry. The blow up on the vehicle's good, and Lamborghini finds a second kill on the fight. Nova get eliminated. That's 2 Chinese teams out, Black.
Oh, so easy. Jason's got a bead on this one. Cursed all the Chinese teams coming into this. You know, he said that, do you think there's going to be 3 in the end? And look, man, it's not, you just don't say it. You don't say those type of things. The boys, they try to back you down, but you didn't listen. You didn't listen, man.
Oh.
And now it's all gone wrong. 2 Chinese teams are out now. Tong Jibao, last remaining from the PEL squads. See what they can do with it. I mean, they looked very strong last game. They have extremely central position here to strike out on either side like a trained boxer.
That was what was talked about, right, by the desk, by us in that last game, is Chong Jabao's ability to play in a solid formation on a strong position. And this is exactly what they've been afforded yet again, Blank. It looks good for them right now. It looks like they might be on for another one. But they still have plenty of teams standing in their way. 14 teams remain.
Yeah, they're playing it safe as well. They're in a position where they can quite easily leave Los Leones, but they're not committing too hard just yet. Bigatron down towards the south side. They're just slowly and casually, you know, floating around those mountains, seeing what they can get done. They don't want to go too fast into this one. You know, if you're learning from any of the mistakes from last game, you know, they were way too quick with it. All right, they had fire coming off the back of their heels, but it ultimately burnt them in the end, with them flying through 4 rivals and taking some shots, and then just going into an area that just was unscouted. It reminds me a lot of Unicorns of Love towards the beginning of their tournament in the Western Europe, but they did fix that pretty quickly. I think BTR, with all the experience on hand, Zuxi from Ryzen, as well as Zuxi and Luxi, they should be okay.
Northern Shift, treacherous. Teams on the south are on board right now with Reject, who they're mentioning they want to see a little bit more for here on Miramar. Moment not really getting into too many scraps, too many scuffles, staying alive, all four of them. Centrally, sorry, on the western edge, this is Rico Infinity team clashing with Deadeye guys who were able to take down 628 early, but there's a knock going out that way. A long-range spray. Looks for the shots and actually might be able to get the flush here.
Just a few,
okay, just gonna land a couple.
Yeah, just a couple. Just a few pre-fires as well, but Damwon Gaming can move on Rico Infinity team now as well. Would have heard those shots, and Ass on his own. Forest and Sung looking to find him, but he's right on the outskirts. Looking to ninja with it.
Ooh, spots F.A.V in there. On the broadside as well. Easy spray down for Anas. And here's SK Tom with the off angle, looking for those vehicles, looking for the cover. It's looking good right now. Nades could potentially be popped in, and Anas has a really strong outpost. The difficulty is if he gets knocked, if he gets overwhelmed here, the rest of the team isn't going to have the best of times getting back in to save him. So Anas needs to be careful. Nades getting cooked and actually in a fairly covered off spot.
Yeah, honestly, Anas has bought so much time here for the rest of Rico Infinity team, and this push is coming in too slow. There's a nice shot coming from Junie on the offside. Really well played. Will take down SK Ton, and this way F.A.V can get back to the rest of the team. I do like that Rico Infinity team was trying to prioritize taking down vehicles and lock Damwon Gaming into this fight, into a 3v4, but Junie, he's got his thing to say about this. Currently there is a res coming through onto SK Ton, but he goes very low once again as he gets picked back up. But Anas just playing around these windows, wonderfully done. Damwon Gaming's Favian just about makes it to the wall, but SK Ton might take the shots, and he does. There's no return fire.
Yeah, Favian going to get flushed on out. Damwon Gaming down to 3 confirmed now. In the meantime, Cryptix and Enigma Galaxy both moved up from the south side to the north side of this fight. They swung around the outskirts and are going to look to move through. The Nate's still looking to get cooked. No one wants to make the first move here, but Forest has to push up this ridge side. Damwon Gaming on the outside track on the circle here. You can see the outpost is good for Rico Infinity team as they move around. They get ahead of the game. Difficult push for Anas and needs to be careful. Thinks better of the route, moves back up to the building, past that smoke, gets back to cover, knows the team has his back.
Massive southeast shift here as well, so Rico Infinity team, they've got a fair way to go. They're right on the outskirts of the western side of the circle. Damwon Gaming just kind of have to retreat and get out of there, but Rico Infinity team, they set themselves up so they've got eyes on all the vehicles that Damwon Gaming brought to the party. The Damwon Gaming, they're going to be on foot from now on. The Infinity trying to take shots over towards their sister Infinity team, but, you know, it's not going to happen. We're going to drop back just a little bit. Labandita, this rough, rocky terrain up in this area on the eastern side. A little bit of compounds available, but quite open space with that road bisecting the middle of this circle. Tongjiabao, they move up to a slightly elevated position. 4 rivals also taking shots down towards Deadeye guys.
Getting 1 knock, looking for more. Taking down the buggy potentially as well. Smokes bloom. Discipline from Deadeye guys to try and keep themselves in this one. They're in this circle, and getting taken down here would be very, very unfortunate for them. It's moving forward, especially after taking down 628 so early into the game. Nade starting to ring on through the Infinities. Ooh, they lose a player, and look at to lose 1 more. Mala around the edge does not find any luck. Taking shots from MSC. Will get flushed out potentially. Very, very close. Pop's able to do it.
Yeah, this is a good little off angle that MS Chonburi is currently playing. They've got players in the house, which is quite hard to breach at the end of it. And also they've got players on the off angle as well, just taking shots towards Infinity as they're trying to get in over this pretty flat plane here. So really, really well done to MS Chonburi to set that one up. Again, they've still got a long way to go. Tongjiabao took a knock in the process, but it's Rico Infinity team who rocks up on Deadeye guys and they get an initial knock.
Anas, though, gets sprayed down from the off angle. Excellent entrance there from the rivals. Comes on through, and Prestego soon to follow. Fadan in the back lines, and they are melted. In the meantime, though, Deadeye guys, I believe they lost 1 during that fray, and just the bullets coming through Oh dear, from across the way. That is unfortunate for the Deadeye guys. Bigatron suffering heavy nade punishment as Xavier looks to play spoiler to them now, as they have to so many other teams this game. As the nades find and the shots land, it's Zuxi to go down first.
Once again, Xavier setting up these nasty little flanks, and Bigatron, they're stuck between a rock and a rock because it's the same rock here, closing in from either side. Xavier, they've got to watch their back as well. They know that the circle is closing. Reject's the only one that could really enter on this fight, but with the way the terrain plays here, Xavier is pretty happy just to continue this one with a BTR. They're on the outside of the circle. Eventually, they will have to push, so Xavier just have to slow it down a little bit. Lets him live. The mercy.
That is true mercy right there. I mean, half HP doesn't want to take those trades, doesn't want to take those chances. Tongzia Bao getting challenged a little bit on their compound by MS Chumburi.
MSC.
Gonna try and move up this ridge side. No one really at their back, so they can play a little bit further up. Need to be careful about Down One Gaming's angle. Nade over the top. Gonna isolate that first position. They're actually worried about across the way that Deadeye guys as well, still in this fight. Down One Gaming have a fight of their own.
Yeah, MS Chumburi is